earlier in the year, we actually heard that the US shot down multiple different UFOs. We heard a little bit about them, but then their trail went cold. Almost as though they found something, but they did not want to share that with the public. Some believe it was the Chinese balloons, others believe that they actually shot something, others believe that in the beginning it was Chinese balloon, but then they actually really shot down a UFO, and we truly do not know what happened. But maybe it seems like today we have an update on the story. Like this video, subscribe if you're brand new, because this is the content we do, this is what we talk about on the channel, and I would love to have you around. You guys have been killing it. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to all of you that are subscribing, and if you're new, definitely subscribe. Roll it. Finally, I can approve
within the Area 51 compound. You can call that a subset of Area 51.
Off the coast of South Carolina, an F-22 knocked down a Chinese spy balloon that looked like the Sinosphere from 60,000 feet up.
Yeah.
3 more UFOs were spotted the next weekend, this time over Alaska.
I'm a sucker of fighter jets though. I love it, especially when the wind was just blowing off. God damn, that's dirty though.
The Yukon and Lake Huron. Fighter planes blew all 3 to bits.
This is my favorite, man. Hydra F-35 can take off vertically, can land vertically as well. Oh my god.
Did a young scientist by the name of Bob Lazar really spend time at S4, a top secret government facility in Lincoln County, not far from Area 51, working on captured extraterrestrial spacecraft? Area 51 is a US Air Force base in the middle of the Nevada desert near Groom Lake that has gained notoriety due to rumors linking it to extraterrestrial craft. According to rumors surrounding the base, alien technology found at alleged crash sites, including the well-known one in Roswell, New Mexico, may be tested there. The fact that the base was kept a secret for a long time and is still off limits to the general public has contributed to this.
Yeah.
As a result,
but we do hear that they have changed places, so it's not like Area 51. Area 51 is just like a name that gets the flag that is like, okay, I'm a shield. I'm gonna protect the area. Okay, I'm gonna take it. Y'all can throw conspiracies at me. Y'all can blame me for having aliens and UFOs. I will take it. I will stand tall. But it's actually like another area around. That's where it's all hidden. Oh shit! That's like the word around the block, man.
This unassuming military complex has had a significant impact on media and pop culture, while also becoming a crucial component of modern mythology and urban legend of the 20th century.
Urban legend.
Behind the little communities of Rachel and Hiko, 120 miles to the northwest of Las Vegas, is where you'll find Area 51.
Yeah!
The moniker, Area 51, appears to have originated from the Atomic Energy Commission map designation for the base, which is still remembered by the general public, but is mostly forgotten by the military. In an effort to entice workers to the base, aerospace manufacturer Lockheed, now Lockheed Martin, gave the region the name Paradise Ranch, when it was first established in 1955 as a component of the Nevada Test and Training Range Complex. As part of the Nevada National Security Site, NNSS, the installation and the larger Nevada Test and Training Range Complex are now known as Groom Lake and Homey Airport by the CIA.
Homey Airport,
despite
yeah.
the site's
I mean, it looks like that they call the ET Homey. Alright, well, fair. Lock yourselves in the basement. They're not our homies. They are here.
Restricted satellite images, the base has been observable on Google Maps since 2018. The base is very modest, but there is a restricted area of...
It is absolutely crazy that they hid that sucker for that long, right? For the longest amount of time, they wouldn't even, let the public know anything about the Area 51. It was as though it never and it did not exist. That's how they were acting like. But then came a point where they were like, well, everybody's talking about it. There's a lot of rumbling, a lot of rumors, a lot of people are sharing conspiracies, people from the inside. We have whistleblowers going off right now. So we have to talk about it. And I truly do believe that Area 51, it might have been at one point where they had all of that technology, but then they just moved that around and just changed it to like a different place because it's getting a lot of that heat and it's hot right now. Everyone's talking, but what we're hearing is that it's around Area 51. I believe it's called Area 52. I don't know about it. I don't know much about it, but we heard that it's around it, but it's not necessarily Area 51. But Area 51 has been used to death right now. You want to talk about aliens, UFOs? What's gonna come to your mind? Area 51. But apparently, what the word around the street is that it's no longer at Area 51. It hasn't been for a while.
roughly 90,000 acres around it for security reasons and to test classified aircraft. After the National Security Archive at George Washington University acquired a once classified CIA document outlining the history of the U-2 espionage plane, the US military was forced to admit Area 51's existence in 2013.
Damn. 2013?
However, despite that acknowledgement, a trip to the base is not allowed. The base's operations are still kept a secret for legal, military, and government reasons.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? Because you don't want your enemies to know what you're developing. Because if they know what you got, then they're gonna try to make something that's one step further, one step more advanced. So it's kind of makes sense. Like I do believe that at Area 51 they're testing a lot of the military crap. They probably might even have Tsar Bomba father or something like that. They probably made like a lot more nuclear stuff there. You know what I'm saying? That can destroy the planet like 20 million times over, let's just say.
On the ground, you'll see stern signs, armed guards patrolling the walled perimeters, monitored by subsurface motion sensors, cameras, guards, and so forth, as well as signs warning that deadly force is authorized.
Yeah.
The military designates Area 51 as a military operating area. Area 51's boundaries are delineated by orange poles and cautionary signs rather than fences. Visitors are informed by such signs that taking photos is prohibited and that trespassing on the property will result in a fine.
Yo, if only that Area 51 raid that sucker said that they're gonna do, it happened. It happened on like Facebook, right? It's like someone actually made a Facebook event, Facebook event on Facebook, right? And people did show up though. That was so massive though. It was all over the news. It also made international headlines. I was gonna say national headlines, but it even made international headlines. Everyone was talking about it. I even talked about it on my main channel. That's a gaming channel, like years and years ago. That video blew up as well because everybody was talking about it, and a lot of people did show up though. Obviously, the reach it got was in the millions, and there were, I believe, 2 or 3 million people that actually signed up that said that they're gonna go. Obviously it's on the internet, so you know not everybody's gonna show up, but hundreds if not 1,000 people did show up, which is still massive. And had it been, if they all tried to at one single time they tried to raid, it would have worked. But obviously nobody did, because you know what I mean, right? People are not stupid, and they took it seriously as well, so they had security and everything like that. Listen, allegedly, okay, I want to say allegedly, I don't want that raid to happen, but oh my god, like if it happened, crazy, man. We live in crazy times though. I mean, suckers attempted to, right?
The majority of the relationship between Area 51 and UFOs is probably due to the testing of brand new top-secret military aircraft. UFOs are a logical conclusion given that odd lights and planes have occasionally been seen in the vicinity. It must be incredibly astoundingly secret.
Yeah, and this one that you see, this craft here, for the rumor, the whistleblowers, you know, that's the word around right now, that, you know, the US actually did reverse engineer, and we have TR-3B, you know, off of our own right now as well. Oh, so it's like human and human made, but there's also like ET also made it, so we reverse engineer it, and we have that one off of our own. And you know, it's kind of directly linked with Project Bluebeam as well. If that ever happens, and if that's true, they're probably gonna use psychological techniques and also UFOs that they made on their own. It's not UFOs, it's like human made, but you know, if you look at them, you're gonna be like, that's a UFO, because it just doesn't make sense, right? So we have some of our own, but it's gonna be really hard to know.
Since the government won't say what's going on there, what we refer to as Area 51 is only one of several military sites, national laboratories, and government research facilities across the nation that deal with secret, even top-secret information and require security clearances for staff and visitors. Both military personnel and civilian employees at Area 51 are required to sign an oath promising to keep all information secret.
Yeah. Well, Bob Lazar didn't really, or in fact, he wanted to, but he just got scared for his life. He thought that they were gonna kill him off, and he was like, I'm gonna go to the news station. I'm gonna become a whistleblower. I'm gonna show my face, and he did show his face, and now he's here. And he said that several times on record that he wished he never wanted to say, because he was fascinated by that and he wanted to still work on that. But he was worried for his life. He was scared for his life, and he had to, and he did what he had to do, and now he cannot just go back, which is wild, right?
People are unable to see anything outside of their immediate responsibilities at the base due to the absence of windows in the buildings at the location.
Yeah.
According to some sources, different teams would work on comparable projects concurrently, but their managers would keep each team in the dark about the work of the other team.
Yeah.
Officials would instruct everyone who wasn't involved in the test flight to remain inside until the test flight was finished and the aircraft returned to its hangar.
That's actually truly just... It makes sense, but it's one of those things, right? Because they don't want to tell what the other group has found to, let's just say we have group A, group B, right? Like if group A finds something, they're not going to tell group B, because if they tell group B and somehow a leak happened, then they wouldn't be able to locate, they wouldn't be able to tell like who leaked it. Yeah, it's one of those things. But it's like, dog, if everybody works together and comes to the conclusion, then they would be able to work at this faster, more efficiently. It will take less time. I'm sure they have probably made leaps and bounds and probably have found a lot more stuff, but it's just crazy to think about, right? Like, you always hear teamwork makes the dream work, right? There is none of that with these suckers out there. And this is something that, you know, Bob Lazar actually revealed during his interviews, even during, I believe, Joe Rogan's podcast.
Along with the reported sightings of mysterious craft, Robert Lazar's 1989 assertion that he had been working on extraterrestrial technology inside the base solidified the mythos around Area 51.
Damn.
Bob Lazar first came to the public's attention in 1989 during an interview with George Knapp of KLAS TV in Las Vegas. At first, Lazar used the alias Dennis and only communicated in silhouette. He later came forward without a mask and with his true identity.
Yeah.
Lazar's assertions that the US government was in possession of 9 alien spacecraft, at least one of which was shaped like a real flying saucer, were
almost. So now we're sitting almost 30 plus years. 30 plus years later, he's still sticking with what he said. He still believes in what he said. You know, there are definitely skeptics, and I think skeptics is a good to have, because, you know, you don't want to believe everything 110%, but you also don't want to dismiss it, right? You want to be in the middle. I obviously do believe, but I wouldn't be shocked, I wouldn't be surprised if one day we learned that he was, you know, lying. But I don't believe that personally. I think he's not lying, because, you know, it's been 30 plus years. He's saying that he said what he said all the way back in 1989, and he's still, you know, keeping his word and saying the same thing over and over. So I mean, yeah, you know, I don't think there's any reason for him to lie for this long.
Were fantastic. According to Lazar, he was a member of a group recruited by the government to reverse engineer the spacecraft in order to provide American scientists with the propulsion information they required to open a route to the stars.
Yeah.
Lazar claimed that the reason he lost his position at the covert military base was because he had taken some buddies into the desert close to Area 51 to covertly observe a flying saucer. A deputy from Lincoln County observed the gang leaving the location and informed the authorities about Lazar.
Damn, they
The
snitch.
most enticing aspect
These suckers snitch on my boy, bro. They snitch on my boy.
of conspiracy theories and alien abduction tales were merged in Lazar's tale. While the media attention surrounding Lazar's incredible claims practically put Area 51 on the map,
Yeah.
it also put him in the spotlight. And it
I
didn't
believe they shifted to Area 52, but I don't know if it's called Area 52. I'm just throwing that roughly out there. But initially it was at Area 51, but now it's not there anymore. Probably some would be. I would not be surprised. But at the end of the day, who knows what's out there, right? That's basically what you hear in the news. That's what you hear. These are the stuff that's going around, right?
didn't take long for people to begin dissecting his account. Caltech and MIT, two institutions where Lazar claimed to have attended college, claimed to have never heard of him.
Yep.
It didn't assist Lazar's credibility much when, about a year after his first TV interview, he was charged with a crime for his role in running what the prosecution called an unlicensed high-tech whorehouse.
Damn.
Lazar supplied one of the only pieces of tangible proof that he had worked at a covert Nevada base as his judicial case progressed. It was a W-2 form that reportedly showed him receiving less than $1,000 in revenue from the Department of Naval Intelligence. Even the validity of such a form was called into question.
Oh my
There
God.
is an Office of Naval Intelligence within the Department of the Navy, but there isn't a Department of Naval Intelligence, as skeptics noted. Our planet might be in serious trouble if his claims about flying saucers are genuine, and he is typical of the scientists we have working on the most important scientific project in history.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, despite doubts about its veracity, a lack of tangible proof and a lack of support from other scientists, Lazar's incredible story has not only endured, but flourished for more than 3 decades.
Yeah.
2018
crazy.
saw a resurgence of interest in his allegations as a result of a documentary directed by Jeremy Corbell. Lazar appeared on the Joe Rogan podcast, which is arguably the most popular podcast on the planet. This
Yeah, it was one, and it still is one of the most legendary podcasts. If you're a fan of this topic, you most probably you already have seen it multiple times. I've seen it multiple times, but if you have not, definitely a must watch.
planet at least as a result of the Netflix documentary, which received a lot of attention.
Yeah, the podcast.
Meanwhile,
the podcast plus the documentary that they were trying to talk about and promote during the podcast, both of them must watch.
Corbell has recently been in numerous interviews on network news talk shows. He is the source of at least one recent UAP leak that shows what look to be triangle shapes traveling through the sky. Corbell hasn't asserted that the UAP videos demonstrate alien intelligence in action. He did, however, state in his video that he thought there was more proof Bob Lazar was telling the truth than there was that he was telling lies. Some would never imply that these airborne objects could not have come from another planet. They very well could be. Perhaps it's time to treat Bob Lazar seriously now that NASA is doing so with regard to UFOs.
Maybe.
NASA's independent study on UFOs.
I always did believe in Bob Lazar, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, he sounds credible, and he's not like too hypey. He's not too loony. It's a fascinating topic. So you want to make sure you respect the topic. You want to make sure that you don't believe in that blindly. But you know, the possibility of us being alone, it's equally terrifying than us not being alone, if that makes sense, right? So yeah, I think he's telling the truth. I think he's telling the truth.
Or unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP, to use the preferred destigmatizing acronym, began last year, presumably without a viewing of the X-Files. The team consists of 16 experts, including astrophysicist, data scientist, oceanographer, and former astronaut Scott Kelly. Whatever or whoever they are, they're still out there, and the American intelligence is after them. After decades of conspiracy theories, TV shows, movies, and presidents' sly jokes, the tantalizing promise of top government intelligence finally weighing in will instead produce a more banal reality that is unlikely to sway many people's opinions. The sightings have not been linked to aliens, but there is no evidence to support this either, according to investigators. According to 2 officials,
we surely do be living in crazy times, ladies and gentlemen. The fact that they're officially and publicly talking about it, held a Congress meeting as well. And that's, I forgot that, David Grush did say that he has proved that he can show after the hearing, and it's probably, I think he did show, we don't know if he did or not, but you know, they asked for him to show the proof. He said that, I have it, but I cannot show it publicly because, you know what I'm saying, right? And he was asked, like, have you heard if people died for defending or leaking this stuff? And he basically answered by saying yes. He did not say yes, but the way he responded chose different words, but basically meant to say, yep, people have died leaking this stuff, defending this stuff, people in the know as well. But we have to get a part 2 of that. When are we gonna next hear about that? When is the next hearing? Will there be a next hearing? When is the next conversation? Where is that? When is that happening? I want to know that.
The American government is unable to provide a conclusive explanation for aerial phenomena observed by military pilots. Assuming Lazar has been telling the truth, can the report...
It's not that they're unable to provide, they just don't want to provide just yet, okay? They're drip feeding slowly. And even when they fully reveal it, I don't know if they're gonna fully reveal it, right?
Avoid conceding
I don't think
that.
so.
Wouldn't the Pentagon have to say at the very least, well, Senators, we're not sure what's causing all these recent UAP sightings, but we can tell you that we have an alien technology in our possession capable of performing the same kind of high-speed, gravity-defying maneuvers we're seeing in these videos.
Yeah.
Such information would undoubtedly be the biggest news since Genesis. After all these years, there's one thing you can say about Lazar. He was unambiguous. Lazar didn't make any oblique, enticing suggestions, as some people have recently done in the media,
Yeah.
that American scientists may have exotic materials that need to be tested further to see if they originate from extraterrestrial life. Lazar stated unequivocally that they have 9 extraterrestrial craft in captivity. 9.
Yeah.
That they have been researching these craft for more.
And that was at the time when he was working and when he actually leaked that information. Now they possibly got more. And even the Pentagon, like I believe during the Roni situation, during lockdowns in 2020, even you just search up with keywords, you're gonna find it, okay? That Pentagon has acquired and has possessed unearthly vehicles. So that's crazy. Oh, shit! That's crazy statement right there, that they have in possession unearthly vehicles, vehicles that have not originated on the face of this planet. They have said that they acquired it. They never said aliens. Does not mean aliens, but what does it mean? Vehicles. So someone must have created them, and they're not made on Earth. They're made somewhere else, but someone did create them. Right. So it's definitely, we living in crazy times right now.
More than 30 years, and that he has worked on the machinery himself. Does the government really keep dead aliens and UFOs hidden? An alleged deep state cover-up of recovered extraterrestrial craft and the pilots' corpses is enough to blow a conspiracy theorist's mind. This claim is made by a recognized former intelligence officer who worked with the Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO, which is tasked with finding strange objects close to military assets. This individual is not some outside crank. The Washington Post and Politico, among other usual suspects in the media.
Yeah, I was gonna say, always he, because he showed Trump, and I do remember that Trump was very curious. In fact, like every U.S. president is, what initially, you know, when they constantly get asked about aliens and UFOs, right? Like what you're gonna do once you become the president, once you are in office, are you gonna reveal or leak that information potentially? And Trump was one of those presidents, if I don't remember much, he was like, yeah, he's gonna go in the office, he's gonna try and find the truth. Obama said the same, like a lot of presidents did say the same, but once they go in the office, it's like a light bulb switch, and they just don't tell us much. But I have this memory, right, where we have Trump that did say that they now need to have United States forces, you know, on land, in air, you know, in ocean, but also they want to have that in space. So yeah, it's been a couple of years right now. So why do they need United States Armed Forces in space? I don't know about that.
Passed on the initial report, which instead found a home on the Science and Defense website, The Debrief, although whistleblower David Grush admits he hasn't seen the said in-hand debris of unidentified anomalous phenomenon, UAP. Vox and a New York Times podcast have since reported his claims. He claims he is simply recounting what other, as of yet unknown, persons informed him. He does not actually possess any direct evidence of them. Nevertheless, he was prepared to provide 11 hours of confidential testimony to congressional investigators. Leslie Keene, one of the Debrief co-writers, told Times podcaster Ezra Klein that nobody at the level of a David Grush, who has been to Congress, has ever talked about the frequently cited federal cover-up of the ET scandal. According to Vox, Grush's supporters think that withholding further information is to be expected, because doing so would be against the law, because the information would be classified. Additionally, they contend that he informed the Inspector General and Congress of the secret information he was aware of, and they both constitute criminal entities if lied to. Klein and other skeptics ponder why, if genuine, the Pentagon would approve such a valuable revelation, as it did with Grush. Klein questions the
Grush, no, it's Grush, bruh.
Government's ability to continue such a comprehensive and protracted cover-up. It has been discovered that the majority of UAP sightings can be explained by real-world, as it were, variables. Only a small portion, though, is still mysterious.
Yeah.
Is the truth really out there? The periodic table did not yet include element 115. When
But yeah, and Bob Lazar did leak that, and then a couple of years later, guess what? It was on our table. Initially, it was not, but then Bob Lazar leaked it. Couple of years later, it was on it.
Lazar first suggested it as a potential source of energy for anti-gravitational propulsion. It now does. Isn't that strange? The name element 115 has been associated with UFOs, aliens, and other similar occurrences for decades, despite the fact that it was just identified in 2003.
Crazy.
In some ways, element 115 is a mystery. Even though it was only included in the periodic table in 2016, It has long been the subject of speculation regarding extraterrestrial technology and alien life forms. Intrigued? Let's first determine what element 115 actually is before attempting to determine whether there
And I believe that from what we heard, Lazar actually had some amount of 115. He did say that, and during the podcast, I believe during Joe Rogan podcast, he did say that he had some. He once said he had some, but now he's don't even want to talk about any of that sort, any of that. He doesn't even want to touch that topic because after that, his house was raided, okay? Because, you know, they heard what he said, so they're keeping an eye out on Bob Lazar, what he does next, what he's saying, what he said. So they want to make sure what he said, so they can go after him and try to erase the evidence and, you know, prove him wrong, because they try to delete his past completely. If they try to delete some of his past, it would have been like one thing, but they tried to remove literally his birth certificate and all of that crap, so that automatically makes him more believable right now, because there's so many different aspects of his life that has been tampered with that it is insane. So it makes you believe that yes, someone definitely did something, and you put two and two together, so obviously, you know. But he did say that he had some amount of 115, house got raided, and I believe they found, they did not found, because he had it somewhere secured. So he says he don't even want to talk about it, anymore.
is a relationship. The super heavy element. Element 115, also known as moscovium, was created by humans and possesses 115 protons in its nucleus. The number of the element on the periodic table, like with all other elements, correlates to the number of protons in the atom's nucleus. That is 23 more protons than uranium, the element with the most mass that can be found in significant quantities on Earth. The exceedingly uncommon element 115, which is created one atom at a time in particle accelerators, is only present for a very brief period of time before decaying into another element. It is special because it is close to a predicted island of stability, where some super heavy nuclei might have much longer lifetimes. Instead of existing for less than a second, they might exist for minutes, days, or even years. That is long enough that we might be able to use them for practical applications. A team of researchers led by nuclear physicist Yuri Oganessian discovered element 115 in 2003 at the Flare-Off Laboratory for Nuclear Reactions in Dubai.
Guys, click on this video on the screen. Check it out. It's something they don't want you to know, man. Check it out, and I'll see you right there.